Okay, hello everyone, it's Poppy. Today I'm back with another makeup themed video because, when I posted the Makeup Revolution Advent Calendar review back in May, you actually seemed to enjoy that a lot more than I thought you would. So, today I'm back reviewing the Makeup Revolution Allure Eyeshadow Palette. So, it looks like this. It might be backwards for you, but for me it does say Revolution. And yeah, so what I thought I'd do today is tell you all about the product, what I do and don't like about it, and then as we're talking, I will just do a quick eyeshadow look. You might not see all of that, I might cut in between, but I should hopefully finish this with a eyeshadow look. I'm not going to be too concerned about my skin and other things like that. If you want me to go into that, I will do it in another video, but this video is mainly about the palette. Also, I should probably say that this video is in no way sponsored by Revolution Beauty at all. I don't work with them, I'm not affiliated with them. This was brought for me as a birthday gift, because I saw this palette online and really liked it. So it was very kindly brought for me by family members. So yeah, I've obviously taken it out, but it did come packaged in a plastic sleeve, the palette itself. And then when I open it, which I have just done, can you see that? I don't know how good you'll be able to see it, but you know, it did come with also the little plastic protective bit that they put in to go with the eyeshadow. And in the mirror on this one, they have not in the mirror, in the lid, sorry, they have a massive mirror. And yes, I know I'm holding it a bit strangely, but do keep in mind that I do have cerebral palsy, so my coordination and dexterity in the way I hold things might not be what you're used to, so do bear with me. But that's, that's why I show up here as a disabled makeup lover. So yeah, I thought the colour shades of this palette were really pretty, sort of, browns, light pinks and reds. Which is the type of colour scheme I wear, because I'm very much out of my era of what I would call consumerism, where I would just buy almost every makeup product out there because I was obsessed with the fact that, I was old enough to wear makeup. Obviously that's subjective to everyone who wears it, but I would definitely had a consumerism era, absolutely. But now I'm very much out of that at 21. And I think actually 13-year-old me would be impressed with how much we downsized our collection. So, yeah, like I say, big old mirror. And if you want a close-up of all the shades, I will take a picture after this and I will insert it in the video, so you will get that regardless. Also, I do apologise if you catch me looking down. I've got a view of what you're seeing on camera on my phone, so that's all I'm looking at. It's basically just a second monitor of a way to see my camera, basically. But yeah, I'm really impressed with this. It's really pretty. Now, in terms of mirrors, you might think, oh, what's she going to do about that? Well, I have a massive one in front of me. I'm not going to show you because it's behind the camera, but I'm lucky enough to have one on my desk so that I, can do it just here. So, you know, yeah, so if you want to do this along with me, you can. So grab a mirror or sit in front of it and let's do this, shall we? So in terms of product information, I did look it up from the Revolution website before this so that I could come to you with accurate information. So in the UK, it's priced at £12 retail. I don't know what that converts to in other countries, but you know, Revolution is a worldwide brand, so I'm sure if you switch to your country on the website, the price will come up in your currency. It's also vegan and cruelty free, as most of their products are, and yeah. So, I think I'm going to do something very light today. So I'm going to maybe use the shade Sweethearts on the top of my eyes. And then maybe Flaunt on the eyelids. So, that's, hang on, let me try. See, I've never done one of these makeup tutorials before, don't judge me. So that's, I'll take a picture again of the exact shades that I used so that you're not confused. So if you want that, I will get pictures of them and put them in at the end of the video so you can copy this if you want. Yeah, so like I say, I'm not focusing on like skin, blush, anything like that because this is a palette review, so I'm literally just focusing on my eyes. But of course, if I was doing this just as a normal makeup look for myself, I would focus on skin and stuff. But also, today my skin needs a bit of a break because I just need to be careful and take care of my skin. So when I don't need to, I don't tend to cover it in makeup, so that my skin can breathe a little bit. So this is good actually because you can now see how I, as someone with CP, do my makeup. Now you might notice that I don't have an eyeshadow brush in sight. That is because I personally find that makeup brushes, for eyeshadow anyway, it's different from skin and stuff, but for eyeshadow, makeup brushes don't actually help me. So I have better control over what my finger does. So I'll use one finger, I will use a wipe to wipe it clean, and then I will put another shade on, and it will go through like that. So yeah, that's just a way of how I do my makeup accessibly. And also, these, for my dexterity, these types of palettes open really easy. And also I like that they have a mirror built in so that I don't have to lean all the way forward to look in my mirror, because that's difficult because I have a titanium rod in my spine due to spinal fusion surgery. I've got more info about that on my Instagram if you want it. So yeah, let's go in with a bit of Sweethearts, because I'm going to do something quite, you know, natural today. So yeah, you can see, you might not be able to tell, I don't know how much it's paid off. But yeah, I don't use any makeup brushes for my eyes, and that's worked well for me. so far in life, and I just want to be here to normalise that you can adapt and do your makeup however you want. You know, you don't have to follow exactly what people do or what all the big people online do it or how they do it, you know. Trust me, I've done that. I've been in that hole. I want to do it like everyone else era in my life. But once I accepted that I could just do it my way, things got way easier. So, sorry, it's hard for me to talk and do my makeup at the same time. Again, I'm inexperienced and I'm just being really honest about that fact. But I do like the way this is paying off on my eyes. So, so far so good. Makeup Revolution, so far so good. Also, thank you for the love I've been getting across YouTube and Instagram recently. I really appreciate that. You know, a dream since I've had since, 12, 13 is, finally starting to come true. So thank you. You're making this version of me and my inner child very happy. Excuse me. So I've done kind of one side of my eye, and then because of my disability, I have a chance to miss bits of it, so I always go back in for a second, sometimes even a third, like, dip. So that I can make sure that I'm covering my whole sort of top bit of my eye adequately. And then when I feel that I've done my best, I will give you see, my mic is magnetic and the palette is magnetic, so they keep sticking to each other. So then, like I say, in between things, I'll give my hands a wipe with a makeup wipe or a wet wipe, whichever I have closest, to be honest. And then I will blend it in again with my finger. Again, because I don't find any eyeshadow tools helpful or easily accessible at this time in my life. And yes, I have tried makeup brushes from adaptive brands and all of that, but for me, I just find my finger is the easiest route to take, and I really do want to normalise that in the makeup space. Because I know people do use their fingers for some things, but I don't think it's very normalised that some people do it for a whole, like eye look, like I do. I also do want to make it very clear that this skill did not pop up for me overnight either. I had to work very hard in conjunction with OTs. If you don't know what those are, that they stand for occupational therapists, and they're all about helping disabled people like myself, be able to do activities of their daily living better and independently. So they're all about helping you do the things that you occupy your time with, not just work. Because you might have heard of like occupational health for work, but but it's what you occupy your time doing that they help you with, at least in the UK anyway. So yeah, I sat down with them in a meeting when I was about 12, 13, and I said, look, I want to learn how to do my own makeup, because then I was having to wait on my mum or my sister or another able-bodied person who knew what they were doing with makeup to be available so that I could have some on. And as a 13-year-old girl who was just obsessed with it, you know, I did the whole thing. Like, I watched YouTube, I did all of that. I wanted to do it more, but the issue was people weren't always around to help me who could. So I did say to these professionals, I did say, look, I want to learn how to do my own makeup, like in an independent way. And they took that as a credit to them. They took that absolutely in their stride, and they said, absolutely, how can we help you? We tried loads of different things, like I would wear wrist weights to stop, tremors in my hands, but then I found that the weight of those wrist weights was weighing me down, so I took the wrist weights off and did it without wrist weights. And yeah, my hands can get a little bit shaky every now and then, but again, wrist weights made it harder for me personally. But obviously everyone's condition is different and everyone is different, so don't take my advice as gospel. Do what works for you. Obviously, that was just my experience. We also tried cutting the handles of makeup brushes down so that they weren't as long, because the less of the actual brush there was for me to try and hold and control, the better. That was before travel makeup brushes were really a massive thing that brands were making, like Universal brands were making in like masses. So, it doesn't take nearly the amount of handiwork nowadays, because I can just buy travel versions of everything that I need, and they're the perfect size. But back then, we'd have to like saw bits of the brush off, and then it would be a whole thing, because then we'd have to make sure like the nail bits from where the brush was held together were out of the way, so that I didn't accidentally hurt myself. But yeah, like I say, today it's much easier with travel makeup brushes being more of a widely available thing from most brands. But when I was 13, they just weren't as prominent as they are now. So, yeah, excuse me for my chatting. You'll notice that I'm very good at that, sometimes to a fault. And so now what I'm doing with my clean finger is literally just blending this out so that I know that it's blended. Again, I could use a brush for this, but I tend not to, because it's just not very easy for me, so I don't do it. Yeah, I was really pleased with how that Makeup Revolution Advent Calendar video went down. In the end, I just threw it up on YouTube as like a fun video so that people could have some new stuff to watch from me, that sort of day or week. And I actually gained a couple of subscribers from it, so thank you. I'm going to put a bit more of the same shade on. bit more of sweethearts. And I've not quite got my heart set on Flaunt anymore because it is quite a sparkly shade. When literally all I'm going to do after this is sit in my house, and this makeup look will be purely for me to enjoy on myself. Hence why I'm also not putting too much effort into the skin. But regardless of where you're going or what you're doing once you have done your makeup, you should always do it for yourself and not because you feel like you're expected to or other people want you to or it's a dumb thing. Because I will be 100% honest with you, more often than not, I am not wearing makeup unless I'm going out for a meal or, you know, visiting like my grandparents, for example. And sometimes when I go and see them, I don't even wear it. So it's just on the days where I feel like I can put the extra energy in, I do. And on the days where I want to, which is the most important thing. But yeah, please don't sit there thinking I'm here doing this every single day, because to be really honest and transparent with you all, half the time I'm not even doing this at all, because quite frankly I just normally don't want to, and it's a lot of energy physically for me because I have to make sure, you know, my hands and fingers and all my muscles are cooperating. So it's not as enjoyable for me as it might be for other people. I do enjoy it, but the process of putting it on is much more physically draining for me than it might be for an able-bodied person. But yeah, please don't sit here and think that I do this every day, because again, more often than not, I don't. That's the only doubtful. If you're using a magnetic mic, like I am, it's gonna get stuck to this palette like something chronic. But normally when I'm doing makeup and not filming, I'm not wearing a magnetic mic, so it'll be fine. So if I look into the camera now, I'm trying to lean forward, but I can't do it very well. So I will take pictures of my eyes so that you can see what they look like once they're done as well. And also in terms of wearability and staying power, I do actually really rate Makeup Revolution as a brand as a whole for that, because all their makeup that I have stays on me quite well, even when I'm moving around while someone's, you know, might be taking care of me. You know, my makeup very rarely smudges with them, so, you know, I can still go back out and look fabulous and feel pretty, which is nice. So I've decided that I'm gonna go for still like a nice shade, but less sparkly. I'm gonna go for the shade Risky, which is a bit like kind of a deep kind of red, but not as deep as you're thinking. Trust me. And with this, you don't need much because it's a bit more highly pigmented. So, oh yeah, you can see that. And so, you can also tell that when I do this, there's not always a particular order to it either. Sometimes I do the top of the lids first, and then I do the eyelids, but I just remembered to do the eyelid on this side, so that's what I'm doing. Because again, even though people can sit online and recommend best ways to do it, you know you, and you know what you're going to be able to do, and what you're going to be able to remember to physically do, and in which order. So, yeah, I would try, and emphasis on the word try, to not be too influenced by the internet with that one. But I know that's hard, especially when you're, you know, like I say, just been like allowed to start wearing a little bit of makeup outside the house and you're young, because I know, you know, I've been there too. I've had the excitement of that too. But yeah, you don't have to do it like all the influencers do it. But like I say, I know it's hard not to be influenced by the internet when you're young. You know, I'm still, not with makeup, but with other things. I'm 21 and I still get influenced sometimes, but not nearly as much. So I promise it does get easier. You've just got to give yourself time to mature a little bit, and yeah. But like I say, when I was 13, had more makeup than I probably needed and was actually going to use. But when there was just a new release out from Makeup Revolution particularly, I would just be like, I want it, even though if it was a colour I wouldn't wear. Whereas nowadays I am more intentional with what I actually buy. And just because it's a brand from it's from one of my favourite brands, that doesn't matter. If I wouldn't wear it, I don't buy it. But I was very much sucked into that whole like beauty YouTuber, oh my god, new product, out, go and grab it kind of culture. So if you're in that same position, please do not worry. It's so normal, like I say, especially when you're young and just starting with makeup. Yeah, so to all the disabled people learning how to maybe do their own independently right now, I know it sometimes can be really tricky, but I'm asking you to, be patient with yourselves and with your body, because remember, our bodies can sometimes take a little bit longer than everyone else to learn how to do these things, and we have to learn different routes and alternative ways. So, because I know when I was first starting, I wanted it to happen, and I wanted it to, come on overnight. But it took months of me working with trained professionals, like I said, for me to actually be able to achieve a makeup look that was wearable on my own. And I still remember the first time I managed to do it by myself, and I was happy with it, clear as day, very happy memory, I won't forget that. So, I know it's hard, but just be patient with yourselves, please. Our bodies might take the slower route, but that doesn't mean they won't get there. Again, just more sweethearts. I'm just doing the other eye too in case I've accidentally not again stuck the mic. And then I just do it a couple more times to just make sure I've covered all my bases. And like I say, it does not have to be perfect. despite what online and, you know, all that, or your friends, if they're particularly like makeup people say, it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be your definition of whatever good or progress looks like. And I've made a lot of progress, but that is because I learned the foundational skills years ago now, and I've been building upon them for years since. So please don't, you know, look at this when it's done and think, oh my god, you know, hers is perfect. It's not, you know, out of place or coming all over the eye, or the other struggles that come with being just how you want to do makeup. Trust me, in the early days, makeup would just kind of go everywhere when my hands weren't used to having to be so precise. But like I say, the precision is a skill that I had to practice and my body had to get used to. Very much so. So, yeah, I'm just going to do a bit more on this side, and then I will... So like I say, I'm no longer using flaunt. I'm going with risky because, as I said, I'm about to sit in the house after this. And this is my first time using this palette, by the way. Yeah, but it's just practice. Like anyone, but I think even more so when you have dexterity issues or a disability that affect your dexterity, hand, fingers, you know, that type of thing. Everyone needs to practice makeup when they first start doing, but I think people with, you know, disabilities that affect their motor skills and function, I think we need a bit of extra practice and a lot of extra patience with ourselves and our bodies. So, yeah. Like I say, I've built on the skill for years. And it wasn't always this easy. And I still have to, if I'm doing it to go out, I still have to, you know, set aside, you know, 30 to 45 minute chunks of time before we leave the house so that I've got time to fix things if they go awry or not as planned. Okay, one more dip into risky, because like I say with my finger, the only problem with this method is it doesn't always cover the whole eyelid at once. So sometimes I have to dip into the pan a few times. But like I say, try not to over-obsess too much. She says as she's sitting here perfecting one eyelid. I am a I don't even want to say, well, I'm not as bad as I used to be, so I'm going to say recovering perfectionist, but please know, it's still a work in progress. But I am happy to say makeup is not one of the things that I need to be 100% perfect with anymore, and it hasn't been for a while. And this might look like I'm poking myself in the eye. I am not. That's just how it might look on camera. And if you're wondering if I have actually poked myself in the eye before accidentally while doing this, yes, I have, many a time. But when you use your fingers for eye makeup, or just near your eyes in general for something as intricate as this, I think that's just part of the course. Thankfully, I've never hurt or injured myself badly. I've just gone, ow, that hurt, and sort of laughed at the situation and moved on. So yeah, obviously try not to poke yourself in the eye, but if you do, just know that it's normal and not always completely avoidable. Okay, I think the makeup itself looks alright now. Again, the only downside to this is if you're filming with the magnetic mic, my god, it's annoying. Okay, let's close. Well, no, I'm actually not going to close it, but I'm just going to let it lean. I do apologise. I was just looking in the mirror then, and I realised I have a bit of chocolate on one side of my mouth. I did do a wipe over of my mouth before filming, as I always do, so I can catch things like that, but I didn't catch that. So, if you saw that, just know that I did wipe my mouth before this, and I genuinely didn't notice. So, yeah, I'm not going to re-record it because of some chocolate. Just going to be completely honest. And say, I ate chocolate chip cookies before filming this. So that's where it's come from. And yeah, I did wipe my face before starting recording. But obviously I missed that. So I will sort it out as I'm finishing my makeup. So now I just go back in really with the mirror that is handily in this instance on the palette, and I kind of use my whole hand and go back over and blend it kind of all in, especially with the slightly darker shades like Risky. I tend to just make sure it's really well blended on both sides. And if it's not, like I just found out with this eye here, oh, I'm pointing at the wrong eye for you. I will get more of the shade I used and literally plonk it on my eye. Now I do have some on my under eye that looks a bit like an under eye bag because of the redishness, but we can clean that up afterwards. And I also kind of wanted to show you the kind of reality of how it is doing your makeup when you're disabled like I am and have issues with my dexterity, hand control, etc. And now, and this final blend through is actually really helpful for me personally, because I then can know where I'm lacking colour, where it needs to be blended more, you know, anything like that. But I think I've done a fairly good job with this one. And like I say, I wipe in between colours. I know this is probably not a very good makeup tutorial. To be honest, this is not really a tutorial. It's more of a just like chatty makeup review, because I'm no expert and I don't have any groundbreaking, or I don't think they're groundbreaking anyway, techniques to show anyone. I'm just here to show what, you know, an unfiltered kind of a disabled person who does her makeup in the way that works for her, rather than, you know, how the world thinks it has to be because of, you know, online and the internet and stuff. So please know that I'm not here to contribute to that. Like, if what I'm doing doesn't work for you, that's so fine. Like, doesn't bother me. You don't need to feel bad or like you're doing something wrong. You just got to do what works for you at the end of the day, because it's your makeup, no one else's. And I'm also just cleaning my desk with some makeup stains. And then now I really am blending in. For the final time, excuse me. Like I say, I apologise for the long bits of like silence in this. I will try and edit it out to the best of my abilities. But like I say, if I was just going to do a very surface level review, it would probably be 5 minutes long of like, yes, the palette and the packaging is gorgeous as always, you know, it's vegan and cruelty free, and yes, I really like the colours that are in it. Right, and then it would be a couple of photos. So I thought this was a better way to make the video a bit longer and a bit more interesting, because you can hear a bit about my journey, about how I learnt how to do makeup independently as someone with cerebral palsy. So yeah, categorize this as whatever you want. It's not really a tutorial, like I say. And also a really good, you know, mentality that one of the occupational therapists that I was working with at the time passed on to me was, when we were working on my eyes specifically, because my eyes were the part that I really wanted to land first. She said, she goes, remember, they're sisters, not twins. Meaning, both eyes do not have to look exactly the same for the makeup to still be pretty. They can be, you know, slightly different to the other. And I've carried that with me since. And that's what I would pass on to other, you know, young disabled perfectionists like I was, and to an extent still am, is keep that in your head. It doesn't always have to be symmetrical or perfect. As much as your brain might be irritating you going, oh, it's not symmetrical. I've had that, trust me. But you've just got to get, you know, you've got to silence that perfectionism that's in your brain and go, and I know that's harder said than done, by the way. Some days it will just feel a bit rubbish, and it will just feel like it's hard and it's slow, and like I say, the process to learning any new skill is not easy, especially with disability. But yeah, there are some days where it's going to be hard and you're just going to wish, oh, you know, I wish it just came more innately to me. You know, the skill of doing eye makeup or whatever it is that you're focusing on. There are going to be days when you feel like that, and that's okay. But remember to keep practicing and keep lifting yourself up, because that's the most important thing. At the end of the day, I am not happy with this other eyelid hang on. Right, a bit more sweethearts. And what I quite like is these pans are quite nice and deep. So I can get my finger in there and sort of, you know, move it around to get a full payoff of the colour. So I do like that about this one in particular, because some pans are quite small and it's difficult for me to get kind of a more deeper level use of the colour. There we go. Oh, hang on. See, I'm new into this, and this eye here is not playing ball. So, you know, I've known the base skills for years, and I still struggle somewhat. So, yeah, it takes time. I wouldn't worry about it. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Now, one last one, and then the final blend through, and then I will wrap this up, because good lord, you don't want to be watching this anymore, and quite frankly, I've done the makeup look now. Just watch long enough so that it counts as a video on YouTube, please. Then I don't mind what you do. You can mute me, you can whatever. just have it on in the background. I do not mind. I just want it to do relatively well in the algorithm. Because that would just be nice for me to experience. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. Yeah, my body's letting me know that I'm using a lot of energy up because my hand, as I'm holding the mirror here with this one, is starting to ache, which means I'm been working the muscles for a while now, and they're going, give us a break, please. So that's what I'm gonna do once I've blended in this other eye in the lids. Yeah, but thanks for sticking around and watching me do this if you have. I respect you a lot for that. Yeah, so they're at the point where I'm happy with them, my eyes. I'm trying to go a bit forward so that you can see, but like I say, I have this fine rod in, so that's not quite possible. But yeah, one more wipe for good measure on the fingers, and then off camera, once I'm done with this, I'll wipe up the under eye excess that because sometimes powder eyeshadows like these can come with a bit of fallout, so yeah, I'll clean up for that, but it's not severe, so yeah, but I'll be cleaning up off camera. So yeah, thank you for staying with me for this sort of chatty get ready with me flash review / whatever this was. I hope you maybe learned something from it, or just enjoyed it, or just maybe put it on in the background while you did your own makeup, or while you were doing your washing up. I don't know. Whatever you've been doing while you've been watching this, maybe in the background, thank you. I appreciate it all. And yeah, so for my final thoughts on this palette, I really do like it. Again, I like it especially because it's got a mirror in the lid, because not all palettes do, and it's easy when I don't have full range to look in my big mirror in front of me anymore, because again, titanium rod. And the packaging is just, again, really pretty. I'll show you once more. And I'll insert a photo of like the inside and the pans and everything, so you can get a better look, because I did try and show you, but I understand that that might not always be enough. So yeah, thank you for being here with me, and just thank you for hanging out, really. So yeah, like, subscribe, and also if you would like to come and hang out with me on another corner of the internet that is just as hopefully cozy, inclusive as I want this channel to be, please come and follow me on my Instagram. It is access granted pod, whereas the channel's called Access Granted with Poppy. I shortened pod down for the Instagram username though. So yeah, you'll be able to find me quite easily because my profile picture is the same as my one here on YouTube. And yeah, and also over there you can watch, you know, the full length podcasts I've done. I promise another one of them is getting to you soon. I just need to fix some issues that I'm having with the editing process, hence why today I came on and filmed something that's slightly easier to edit. But I promised you it is coming, and I'm so proud of where, you know, Access Granted is, you know, has gone and continues to go with both of its platforms, and I'm just excited to see where the future takes me. So thank you for being here in my cozy little inclusive corner of the internet. I hope you felt understood, seen, or just felt like, you know, maybe less lonely as you were, you know, going about your day. But yeah, I hope you leave this space feeling really good today, or after this video anyway. And thank you for hanging out with me. And I appreciate you all so much. Bye!